One of the most common questions homebuyers have that we hear all the time is, where in the Raleigh Triangle, North Carolina area can I buy a house based on my budget? On today's video, we're going to rank all 25 cities around Raleigh, North Carolina from most expensive to most affordable to help guide you to which triangle city or suburb is right for you. First up, we have the most expensive city in the Raleigh Triangle area, and that is Chapel Hill, Carrboro, North Carolina. The median price for a home recently sold in Chapel Hill, Carrboro is coming in at $632,000. Of those, and of the homes sold, 7.3% were new construction. To get from Chapel Hill, Carrboro to downtown Raleigh is going to take you about 40 to 55 minutes. And just for reference, these two cities are on the western side of the triangle. Just so you know, we've combined them together for the purpose of this video, but know that they are very separate cities. It's just that Chapel Hill and Carrboro are attached, and it's hard to tell where one city ends and the other city begins. As well, the cost of living in these cities is pretty similar. As you can imagine, if you know anything about Chapel Hill, Carrboro, they're pretty much dominated by the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This area is the absolute quintessential college town, which means there's a lot of demand to live there for people who want to either live around a college town or that work at the University of North Carolina. And so, of course, you can imagine all of this demand equals higher prices. And then when you layer on top of that, the city councils of these two towns have not been very pro-growth friendly over the years, which means it's very, very slow growth going on in these two cities, which means prices are going even higher. And that's why Chapel Hill, Carrboro lands at the #1 spot for most expensive cities in the triangle on our list. Next up, the second most expensive city is going to be a bit of a surprise, I think, to you, and that's Pittsboro, North Carolina. The median price for a home sold in Pittsboro is currently coming in at $610,000. Of those, a whopping 47.7% are new construction. And if you need to drive to downtown Raleigh, it's going to take you between 40 and 45 minutes to get there from Pittsboro. This city is pretty far south of everything in the triangle. It's one of the southernmost cities in the triangle, pretty much only close to Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and a few other outlying cities to the west. So Pittsboro is rapidly growing, and this is one of the reasons why the median home price is so high. Pittsboro was once a sleepy, small little town, but it's being dominated currently by Chatham Park, which is a mega development in Pittsboro that is completely transforming the town. When it's completed, Chatham Park will have approximately 22,000 residential units, 23 million square feet of non-residential development, 1,320 acres of open space, and a whopping 667 acres of parkland. Chatham Park will also include the Disney-developed neighborhood called Asteria that we've talked about on past videos in this channel. It's causing a lot of buzz and a lot of activity, and of course a lot of people moving to Pittsboro and to Chatham Park. As I said, Chatham Park is really affecting prices here in this city, and also nearby construction such as Briar Chapel and the surrounding neighborhoods around that are also greatly impacting Pittsboro. Next up, in the third position, we have Holly Springs, North Carolina. The median home price for a home in Holly Springs is coming in at $605,000 currently, of which 35.3% of the sold homes were new construction homes. Driving to downtown Raleigh from Holly Springs is going to take you anywhere between 25 and 35 minutes. And just for reference, Holly Springs is located to the southwest of Raleigh and just to the south of Cary, Apex, and Morrisville. You might be surprised to see Holly Springs ranked this high on the list, higher than even Apex or Cary. Well, that's because there's been a lot of new construction going on in Holly Springs recently, and a good bit of it has been on the high-end luxury side, and so of course that's going to drive median home price up. Holly Springs is a really up-and-coming town. The downtown area we maligned on videos in the past on this channel and have not been a really big fan of downtown Holly Springs. Well, it is really getting revitalized and added to, making it a great area. Beyond that, there's lots of shopping, lots of really great conveniences in Holly Springs, and Holly Springs is most certainly known for their outdoor activities. Ting Park and Bass Lake Park are two of the parks in the town that make it super easy to get out and hang out in the great outdoors. Next up, we have Cary, North Carolina. Currently, the median home price for a home sold in Cary is coming in at $590,000, of which only 10.1% of the homes were new construction. And of course, one of the claims to fame of Cary is its excellent location. You can be from just about anywhere in Cary to downtown Raleigh in only about 10 to 15 minutes. And you may be wondering why Cary has been ranked lower than Holly Springs on this list. Well, a lot of the activity that's been going on in Cary recently has been more of the townhome variety, so prices tend to be a little lower. Again, new construction is only coming in around 10%, so that's not driving up prices. Mostly resales are what's selling in Cary recently, and with Holly Springs selling so many new construction, it definitely skews the data and makes it so that the median home price is lower in Cary than Holly Springs. However, don't think this means Cary is inexpensive. The median detached new construction home in Cary is $1,050,000, and the resale home is $700,000. So as a little bit of background, Cary is the epitome of a bedroom community. This was the place that a lot of people from out of the area moved to when Research Triangle Park was getting underway. And it really remains a very, very popular place for transplants to move to even today. And in fact, whenever one of our YouTube viewers contacts us to help them buy a home in the area, inevitably the name Cary is mentioned by the client. Everyone seems to know about Cary, and everyone wants to move to Cary by and large. Next up, we have Apex, North Carolina. The median home price for a home recently sold in Apex is coming in at $587,000. And of those, 43% of the homes sold were new construction homes. The distance to downtown Raleigh from Apex is coming in at about 30 minutes. And just for frame of reference on a map, Apex is to the southwest of both Raleigh and Cary. So a little bit of background on Apex. Apex is basically Cary Part 2. As growth has stalled out in Cary, simply because there's no more land in Cary, all of the new construction growth has been happening in Apex. And of course, that drives up the price of homes in Apex. But beyond being just a adjunct to Cary, Apex has a lot going for it on its own. Apex has a really, really great downtown, some really cool restaurants in Apex. I talk about all the time on this channel, Apex Wings, some of the best wings in the entire Triangle area. And in fact, if you're down in the Apex area, you can't leave the Apex area without trying Apex Wings. Trust me, you'll appreciate it and you'll thank me later. And of course, this is a great town if you're looking for new construction. There's a ton of new construction going on in Apex. As I said, over the past year in Apex, over 43% of the homes sold were new construction homes. So based on the requests that we get from our YouTube viewers, I would guess that Apex is in the top 5 most in-demand cities in the Triangle. And in fact, of all the people that come to us looking to buy a house in the Triangle, about 10% of you end up buying a house in Apex. Next up, we have Roseville, North Carolina. Currently, the median home price sold in Roseville is coming in at $544,722. And like many of the other cities we've talked about earlier on this list, new construction is a big factor as to why Roseville is so high up on this list of most expensive places in the Triangle to live. 45.5% of the homes sold over the past year were new construction homes. And to get to downtown Raleigh from Roseville is going to take you about 25 to 30 minutes or so. And on a map, Roseville is to the northeast of Raleigh. So one of the great features of Roseville, and really what's driving a lot of the demand, is its close proximity to Wake Forest, North Carolina. They pretty much join near the Heritage Super Mega neighborhood, and this means that people that live in Roseville are easily able to get into Wake Forest and go to the grocery stores, the shopping, the restaurants, etc. that Wake Forest has to offer, while still being able to buy a new construction home in Roseville. And very similar to what we said about Holly Springs, where the downtown of Roseville was not all that special, well, you should know that it's rapidly being transformed. There is a new development we've talked about recently on this channel called Cobblestone Village that is due to be done sometime next year, that is going to completely and totally transform the downtown of Roseville, making Roseville even more of a compelling buy for people interested in moving there. We should also say our favorite seafood restaurant in the entire Triangle is in Roseville. It's called Off the Hook. It's a little diner vibe going on about it. Certainly not a high-end luxury experience, but for good, amazing seafood, we highly, highly recommend you go try Off the Hook Seafood Restaurant in Roseville. Next up, we have nearby Wake Forest, North Carolina, where the median home sold price comes in at $525,000. And of those, 37.15% of the homes sold last year were new construction homes. And distance to downtown Raleigh is coming in anywhere between 25 and 45 minutes, depending on where in Wake Forest you live. So there is lots of growth going on in Wake Forest, with most of the growth being on the outer bands of the town. Wake Forest has an amazing little downtown, great coffee shops, restaurants. It's even a rooftop yoga studio in downtown Wake Forest. Plus, beyond that, Wake Forest has a beautiful location. Lots of trees, lots of great parks, lots of really nice things to do in Wake Forest, which is really driving demand and of course driving up prices. So as we said, there's some great restaurants, great shopping, great grocery stores in Wake Forest, but one stop in particular we need to tell you about. It's called Paul and Jack's. It's a European bakery, one of the best bakeries in the Triangle. I would even go out on a limb and say it's one of the best bakeries this side of Paris, France. Highly recommended that you go check them out. If you are in Wake Forest, try the croissants, try the bombolini. They even have these new brookie things, which is like a brownie cookie. It's insane. And check them out on Instagram. It's like crazy insanity. And on a personal note, Wake Forest is one of our favorite cities as well. In fact, we bought a house there, and we're not alone. Over 12% of our YouTube viewers that came to us to ask us to help them buy a house decided to buy a house in Wake Forest. Next up, we have Morrisville, North Carolina, where the median home sold price in Morrisville is coming in at $523,000. Of those, only 4.2% of the homes are new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Morrisville is going to take you about 25 minutes. But that being said, Morrisville has an excellent location. It is in pretty much the dead center of the Triangle, and you can be anywhere in the Triangle in about 25 to 35 minutes. That is what's driving so much demand to live in Morrisville. Beyond location, Morrisville's big claim to fame is its vast array of different cultural styles of food. Just about anything you can imagine that you want to eat, you can find it in the Morrisville area. And as we said, it has a great central location. Unfortunately, one of the knocks about Morrisville is it's really close to the airport, which means if you're running late for a flight, that's a great thing. But if you don't really like or can't tolerate air traffic noise, there's many parts of Morrisville where planes fly over that may end up being an issue for you. Next up, we have Hillsboro, North Carolina, where the median home sold price in Hillsboro over the last year is coming in at $467,000. And of those, 16.57% of the homes sold were new construction homes. The distance to downtown Raleigh from Hillsboro is about 40 to 55 minutes. It's one of the furthest westerly cities in the Triangle, and of course that's impacting the drive time into downtown Raleigh. On a map, Hillsboro is pretty much to the east of Chapel Hill, Carrboro, and to the west of Burlington, Elon, North Carolina. So Hillsboro is a charming city, but it's pretty much off to itself. Basically, all you have near you is the Chapel Hill, Carrboro, or the Burlington, Elon areas. And so because of that, we don't get a lot of demand from our YouTube viewers to show them houses in Hillsboro. That being said, it is an easy drive into Chapel Hill, Carrboro. And if you were to work in the Research Triangle Park and want to live in Hillsboro, you're only looking at about a 25-minute drive time. So working our way down the list to the more affordable areas, we now come to Fuquay-Varina, North Carolina, where the median home price for a home sold in Fuquay-Varina is coming in at about $450,000. And of those homes sold, a whopping 53.8% of homes sold were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Fuquay-Varina is coming in at about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on where in the area you live, which makes it one of the furthest southeasterly points in the Triangle area. So Fuquay-Varina has two really amazing downtowns, and you heard me correctly, two downtowns, because Fuquay Springs and Varina, North Carolina were two tiny towns side by side that merged together to form Fuquay-Varina. And because of that, they have their own downtown still. Very cute. One of our favorite areas of the Triangle is Fuquay-Varina, mainly because they have some great restaurants like Vicious Fishes that we talk about all the time, some great breweries, lots of stuff to do in the area. Highly recommend Fuquay-Varina if that part of the Triangle suits your employment or your tastes. Next up, we have Raleigh, North Carolina. Median home price for a home in Raleigh over the last year is coming in at $425,000. And of the homes sold, 21.8% were new construction. So as you probably already know, Raleigh is the capital city of the state of North Carolina and by and large the center of all that's going on in the Triangle. Drive time from most any point in the Raleigh city limits to downtown Raleigh is coming in at about 15 to 20 minutes. And you will probably notice that the median home price in Raleigh is not as high as some of the other cities in the area. That doesn't mean that demand is kind of dropped off in Raleigh, and on the contrary, demand to live in Raleigh is still very, very high. It's just that there's not a lot of new construction going on in Raleigh right now, and what new construction is going on is by and large a result of tearing down an older home and putting a newer home on that lot. So that of course skews the data. Because there's not as much new construction going on, it pushes down the median sales price for homes in Raleigh. But again, that being said, Raleigh still is very much in demand. We get calls every day from our YouTube viewers asking us to find them a home in the Raleigh city limits. As far as great restaurants in Raleigh, it's really too numerous for us to mention here. So if you need any dining tips for Raleigh, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll be happy to give you a good list. Next up, we have Youngsville, North Carolina. Median home price for homes sold in Youngsville over the last year is coming in at $425,000. Of those homes that sold, a whopping 54.81% of homes were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Youngsville is coming in at about 35 to 45 minutes. And as a frame of reference, Youngsville is to the north of both Raleigh and Wake Forest. So as you can imagine by the large number of new construction homes that have sold recently, this small rural town is dramatically changing and growing. Lots of new construction is going on here. Still can get a very good value for your dollar in Youngsville, and it's driving a lot of demand. We're seeing a lot of demand from our viewers to move to the northern part of the Triangle, and many of them land in Youngsville, North Carolina. An added bonus of Youngsville is it's fairly close to Wake Forest, North Carolina, and so you're getting all of the shops, restaurants, grocery stores, etc. that you find in Wake Forest, while still being able to live in a small town rural feel of Youngsville. Next up, we have Durham, North Carolina, where the median home sold price over the last year in Durham is coming in at $415,000. And of those homes sold, 22% of the homes were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Durham is coming in at about 35 to 40 minutes. And on a map, Durham is to the northwest of Raleigh. And if you don't know already, there's a lot of things to do in Durham. Durham is considered the foodie capital of the Triangle. Lots of great restaurants in Durham, especially in the downtown area. As well, in the downtown, you've got the Durham Performing Arts Center, and the Durham Bulls minor league baseball team plays in downtown Durham. And of course, we can't forget the colleges. Duke University and NC Central University are both in Durham, which means you have plenty of opportunities to go catch a basketball, football, baseball, etc. game while living in Durham. Next up, we have Garner, North Carolina, where the median home price for a home that is sold over the last year in Garner is coming in at $410,000. And of those, 39% were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Garner is only about 10 to 15 minutes. That's because Garner is to the south of Raleigh, and in fact is pretty much attached to Raleigh. And of course, the location is what makes it easy to live in Garner and work or play in downtown Raleigh. Garner definitely has some options for dining and shopping, but please know that most of what you're going to see in Garner is more of the big box shops or the chain restaurants. Next up, we have Wendell, North Carolina, where the median home price of a home sold over the last 12 months in Wendell is coming in at $400,000. And of those, an amazing 67.7% of all the homes sold in Wendell were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Wendell is coming in at about 20 to 30 minutes, but if you live in the mega Wendell Falls neighborhood, you can shave about 5 to 10 minutes off of that time. On a map, Wendell is directly east of Raleigh and very accessible to Interstate 87 to get you pretty much anywhere in the Raleigh area or in the Triangle at large. So Wendell used to be a pretty sleepy little town, not a whole lot going on, very small population. And then Newland Companies out of California decided to build their mega Wendell Falls neighborhood just on the outskirts of Wendell, and it has dramatically changed the appearance, complexion, everything of Wendell. The sleepy downtown has now become one of our favorite downtowns. Lots of great shops and restaurants and stuff going on in downtown Wendell. Beyond that, there's been a lot of growth commercially, where you're seeing things like Publix grocery store, Starbucks, restaurants, all that sort of stuff coming up and sprouting up around Wendell Falls. And of course, Wendell Falls coming to Wendell has caused other builders to come as well. And so even more neighborhoods are popping up, and the growth and the population growth of Wendell is exploding at an exponential rate. On a map, Wendell looks pretty far out from the rest of the triangle, but please know, because of that interstate, it's not. So if Wendell fits in your budget, we definitely think you should go explore it. We think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. And so now we're finally at the point where we're getting below the $400,000 median home price barrier. And so our next city to tell you about is Knightdale, North Carolina. Median home price for homes sold over the last 12 months in Knightdale is coming in at $385,000. And of those sold, 39% were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Knightdale is coming in at about 18 to 25 minutes, depending on where in Knightdale you live. And on a map, you can see Knightdale is very, very close to the eastern side of Raleigh, making it very, very convenient to live in Knightdale and work on the eastern side of the Raleigh area. As far as restaurants and shopping goes, please know Knightdale is by and large dominated by the big box stores, the chain restaurants, etc. However, there are some really great hidden gems, independent restaurants and shops in Knightdale, and among those, our very favorite barbecue joint, Prime Barbecue. Highly recommend you go there if you want pork barbecue or brisket, some of the best around. As well, The Depot, which is a fine dining restaurant, and of course, La Mexicanita Bakery is right there near Prime Barbecue and The Depot in the downtown Knightdale area. Highly recommend you go check them out if you definitely want to get like a sweet bun, Danish, that sort of thing. They know what they're doing there. Again, highly recommended. Next up, we have Clayton, North Carolina, where the median home price for a home sold over the last 12 months in Clayton is coming in at $370,000. And of the homes sold, 37.42% of those homes were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Clayton is coming in at about 25 to 35 minutes. And on a map, Clayton is to the southeast of Raleigh. And there is tons of growth going on in Clayton. We talk about Clayton all the time on this channel, and we have a lot of demand from our YouTube viewers to show them homes in Clayton. It's one of the hottest cities in the entire Triangle area to buy a home, especially, of course, if you're looking for new construction. By and large, our team specializes in new construction, and a lot of what we sell is in the Clayton area. It's definitely somewhere we recommend you look if Clayton is in your budget. Next up, we have Franklinton, North Carolina, where the median home price sold over the last 12 months in Franklinton is coming in at $360,000. And of those homes sold, a whopping 47.5% were new construction homes. Drive time from Franklinton to downtown Raleigh is about 30 to 40 minutes. And on a map, Franklinton is one of the furthest northern cities in the entire Triangle area and is pretty much due north of Raleigh. So a ton of growth is going on in Franklinton. It once was a small little town. It's growing by leaps and bounds now, as evidenced by about 50% of the homes sold last year being new construction. Lots of builders are out in Franklinton building, and it's definitely increasing the price of homes in that town. You can definitely, though, still get a very good value for your money, and on top of that, Franklinton is pretty close to Wake Forest, so you get Wake Forest restaurant, shopping, grocery stores, etc. when you live in Franklinton. Next up, we have Zebulon, North Carolina, where the median home price sold in Zebulon over the last 12 months was $348,000. And of those, an amazing 66.8% of homes sold over the last 12 months were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Zebulon is about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on where you live in the town. And on a map, Zebulon is to the east of Raleigh and pretty much one of the most easterly cities in the entire triangle. So it goes without saying, with 66.8% of the homes sold last year being new construction, it goes without saying that there was a lot of growth in Zebulon. The builders have definitely discovered Zebulon, as some of the other towns and cities around Raleigh have been built out or gotten overpriced. And so there's a lot of very good value by buying a home in Zebulon. And we expect that to continue for many, many years to come, where Zebulon is one of the top places for new construction in the entire triangle. Beyond the good home prices, one of the biggest claims to fame of Zebulon is its home to the Carolina Mudcats minor league baseball team. Next up, we have Angier, North Carolina, where the median home price sold over the last 12 months in Angier is coming in at $340,000. Of those, an amazing 62.8% of homes sold were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Angier is about 35 to 40 minutes. And on a map, Angier is by and large pretty much due south of Raleigh. So Angier is a rural southern town, most of which is in Harnett County, a little bit in Wake County, and it's an up and coming town with lots of new construction growth happening in Angier. So one of the things driving growth in Angier is it has an exit off of Interstate 40. So it's very easy to get from Angier to pretty much anywhere else in the triangle relatively quickly. And so the builders have noticed that location and have started building a lot of new construction in that area. Expect Angier to continue growing and being one of the top cities for new construction for many, many years to come. Next up, we have Lewisburg, North Carolina, where the median home price for a home sold in Lewisburg is coming in at $330,000. And of those, 36% of homes sold were new construction homes. Drive time to downtown Raleigh from Lewisburg is about 45 to 55 minutes. And on a map, Lewisburg is to the northeast of Raleigh. So Lewisburg is a small town, fairly rural, has a really good value for your money as far as being able to buy a house. And so if you're value conscious, or you just really work from home and don't really need to do a lot of driving around into Raleigh or one of the other big cities, Lewisburg could be an excellent option. Next up, we have Lillington, North Carolina, where the median home sold price over the last 12 months is coming in at $325,000. And of the homes sold, 44.9% were new construction. Drive time from Lillington to downtown Raleigh is coming in at 50 minutes to an hour. Lillington is in the center of Harnett County, which is to the south of Raleigh. And in fact, Lillington is the county seat of Harnett County. And of course, with nearly 47% of the homes sold recently in Lillington being new construction, you can imagine there's a lot of growth going on in this small town. Expect it to dramatically grow and change and have a population explosion over the next few years. Next up on our list is Smithfield, North Carolina, where the median home price is coming in at $318,000. 46.7% of the homes sold last year in Smithfield were new construction homes. And a drive time to downtown Raleigh from Smithfield is going to take you about 35 to 45 minutes. On a map, Smithfield is to the southeast of Raleigh. So the big claim to fame of Smithfield is it sits on Interstate 95, which makes it very, very easy to get anywhere on I-95, and then of course jumping off to I-40 very, very quickly from Smithfield. And another great thing about Smithfield is you get a lot of home for your money. There's some great value buying a home in Smithfield. Next up, we have Sanford, North Carolina, where the median home price over the last 12 months is coming in at $318,000. Of those homes sold, 55.4% of the homes in Sanford were new construction homes. Drive time from Sanford to downtown Raleigh is going to take you about 45 to 55 minutes. And on a map, Sanford is to the southwest of Raleigh. So along with some of the other cities we've talked about that are sub $400,000 median price on this list, Sanford is rapidly growing. Lots of new construction going on. Lots of transformation is going on in Sanford. Sanford currently has a population of 32,000, but that number is increasing as more and more builders are moving into Sanford. And of course, we can't forget VinFast, the electric car company, is building a plant in Sanford. So that is even going to cause even more dramatic growth in the area. Expect to hear more and more things about Sanford, North Carolina over the next months and years on this channel, as Sanford is one of the fastest growing cities in the entire triangle. And next up, we have Selma, North Carolina, where the median home price for a home sold over the last 12 months in Selma is $309,000. And of those, 55.4% of homes sold were new construction homes. Drive time from Selma to downtown Raleigh is coming in at about 35 to 45 minutes. And on a map, Selma is to the southeast of Raleigh and is attached to Smithfield, North Carolina, that we talked about just a couple of minutes ago. So Selma is truly small town America. It's everything you could imagine you would find in a small southern town. And beyond being the least expensive place in the Triangle to buy a home, there's lots of great stuff going on in Selma. We've already talked about the close proximity that Smithfield has to I-95. Well, of course, Selma being attached to Smithfield also has great proximity to Interstate 95. You can be to the north or to the south on I-95 very, very quickly from Selma. As well, there's some really good restaurants and shops in Selma. And of course, you can be in Raleigh very, very quickly to take advantage of all the stuff going on in Raleigh, shopping-wise, food-wise, etc. And so because of its location, Selma is a great place to live if you work on the eastern side of the triangle or you work from home. So if you're interested in buying or selling a home in any of these 25 cities, give us a call or text. We'll be happy to help you out. Check out this video. We think you're really going to like this one as well. Like and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.